Good morning, everybody. I'm excited about today's video. I'm going to do something I haven't tried before, and we're going to try making 100% whole grain bread today. I'm hopeful this is going to work out, so that's what we're doing in today's video. So I didn't realize that my microphone actually wasn't on in this portion of the video, so I apologize. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a voiceover on what I was doing. So here I'm explaining that I went and bought this 100% whole grain stone ground flour. I have made pizza dough with this previously, and it was a little bit dense, but tasted super good. So we're going to attempt to see how well this raises with this bread recipe. So that's what I'm explaining right here in this clip. So for this recipe, we start with 2 3/4 cups of hot water, and we're just going to put it right into the bowl. In this recipe, she doesn't activate the yeast first, but she does say that if you're more comfortable activating it first, you can. So I do end up activating it first here. You want to make sure your water is no hotter than 110 to 115 degrees, otherwise you're going to kill the yeast. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making sure it's a good temperature. So put that into the bowl, and then we're going to add some of the other ingredients here. To the water, I'm going to add about 1/3 cup of olive oil. Then I add about a tablespoon of salt. I actually did check right here to make sure that was correct, because that seemed like a lot to me, but I'm sure it's to help season the bread and make it flavorful. Then we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of molasses. If you don't like molasses, I would just probably substitute extra honey. There is also honey in this recipe as well. So we're going to add about 1/3 cup of honey to this recipe. After I add the honey, I give it a little whisk to make sure that the honey and the molasses is all nice and dissolved into the water with the salt and the olive oil. And then I'm going to add in the dry active yeast here. I did buy a brand new jar of the dry active yeast for this. I wanted to make sure that it was nice and fresh and give the best chance for this bread to raise really nicely. So you need about 2 tablespoons of dry active yeast in this recipe. I always like to give the yeast a really nice mix to make sure it dissolves into the mixture really well. I find it helps activate it a lot better. So once I'm done mixing this, I give it about 5-10 minutes to let it activate, and that's where the rest of our video is going to pick up here. I will give you a look right now on what that looks like. Okay. Oh wow. Look how activated the yeast is. I'd say that's very activated. Okay, so let's go and put the rest of the flour into this recipe. That's super activated. Yay. Okay, so it does say in this recipe if you would like to have mix in some regular flour with this, you can, just for texture. So one thing that I'm going to do differently than the recipe, I took this from a few other recipes, is I went to our bulk store and I bought some 7 Green cereal, it's called. So it's like a seed mixture and like a grain mixture that I'm going to add to the bread. I kind of wanted to have like a seed and grain kind of bread. Some of my favorite stuff that I've started having with my anti-inflammatory diet. So that's another reason why I wanted to try making my own recipe here. Okay, so this one I think I'm going to put the most in the seeds, because that's my favorite part. So it says you can put in as much of this as you want. So I think I'm going to put in, this is like a grain mixture. I'm going to put in a couple tablespoons of this. I wanted to put this in right before we did the flour. And for this seed mixture, I think I'm going to add quite a bit of this. Probably, let's see here. Do I have a cup in here? I do. Probably about 1/3 of a cup. Maybe more. We'll see what it looks like here. It's more preference, right? But I got this at, in Canada, we have a place called Bulk Barn, and I bought it at Bulk Barn. It's called 7 Green Cereal Mix. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more. There we go. Okay, let's start putting flour in this. That is so activated, I'm so happy about that. Okay, so all together you can use up to 7.5 cups of flour, but depending on, you know, altitude and all that sort of stuff, sometimes you don't need that much. So we're gonna go according to texture here. So I'm gonna start with 2, and then we'll slowly add it in. Two cups. This smells delicious. The honey and the molasses, oh my gosh. So in the recipe, it does say that for the first rising, it's not going to be completely doubled in size, which is okay, but it does need to be larger. Okay, let's add a little bit more. I'm only nervous about this raising really well because of the pizza dough that I made that didn't raise super well. It did taste delicious though. Okay, so that's 4. Slowly starting to come together. Okay, let's add a little bit more. I think I'm going to go a cup at a time now. I think next time I make this, I'll try maybe not stone ground flour. Okay, so this is 5. Almost there. And I'm at 5 cups right now. So let me mix this all the way in and then we'll see where we're at here. So in the recipe, it says to use the least amount of flour possible so that the bread dough texture is nice and fluffy once it's raised. So there's some flour here at the bottom that we're going to try and mix in. This definitely has a texture very similar to the pizza dough that I made, so we'll see how well this raises. Okay, almost. Let's mix a couple more times here. Okay, I just added a little bit of olive oil to this just to make it a little bit more soft. And mix that in. There, the dough is a little nicer now that I added the olive oil. The texture of this dough is quite stiff. I think it might be because of the stone ground flour that I'm using. Just take it out and just give it a couple mixes like this. It's got a really nice smell to it. Okay. I think that's good for now. You can see all the nice seeds and stuff in it. I'll give you a close-up look here in a sec. Okay, I'm just gonna pour a little bit of olive oil in the bowl. Give that a mix, just so it doesn't stick to the sides, which I don't think it will. This dough is not very overly sticky, I would say. I think it's because of the flour I'm using. Make sure it's covered in olive oil here. Okay, I'll give you a close-up look and then we're gonna start raising it. Okay, here's a close-up. See all the beautiful seeds and the green mixture? Okay, let's cover this so we can raise it. Okay, so I'm going to raise this for about 45 minutes to an hour. It says it does not need to be doubled in size, so but it should be larger. So we're going to see what 45 minutes to an hour does. Okay, so it's been an hour. I just peeked at this. It raised really well, actually. I let it, yeah, about an hour. And it is more than double. I'm so happy about that. Okay, so I was a little worried it might not raise very well. So I'm going to spray 2 pans here, 2 baking pans. So in the recipe it says to punch it down just like it would be like it was almost normally. And we're going to separate it and shape it into 2 loaves. Okay, so we got the pan sprayed. Let's see here. I'm so happy about this. Look how much it doubled. Okay. Still got quite a dense texture, but we'll see how it raises with the second raising here. Still a lot better than I was expecting. I'm just going to give it a couple kneads. That's what it says in the recipe. And then put it into a log like that. And pinch the end here. This definitely doesn't feel like traditional dough. I think mainly because of the stone ground flour though. Okay, put that one in. It does feel quite a bit fluffier though. That makes me very hopeful. I was very surprised when I seen how much it had raised, so I was expecting maybe half of that. Okay. I'm going to let these raise another hour. In the recipe it says, what does it say? Let me look. To raise until it's doubled in size. So I'm going to put these on my oven here. I like to put mine on the oven when it's preheated to give it extra warmth. So I'm going to put these on my oven, my stove, and I'm going to let them raise till they're double in size. And I will give you a peek at what that looks like before I put them in the oven to bake. Let's kind of peek at these. Oh, it's not too bad. I think I'm going to leave them for another half an hour just to see if I can get them to puff up just a little bit more. So I'll come back when they're a little bit more, hopefully. Okay, so I left them for about a half hour more. This one rised a little bit more, but not too much. So I think we're going to put them in the oven. It is to bake them for about 35 minutes. So once that's done and they come out of the oven, I'll show you what they look like. Okay, so they look a little dense to me, but we'll see. They just came out of the oven. They still look quite dense to me though. I hope they're cooked in the middle. They feel like it. So let's let them cool and then we're going to cut into one and see exactly how dense they are. So let me get some butter. Just put it on top. I'm hoping there's enough fluff to them that it'll be good though. I was hoping they'd be a little bit more fluffy, but we'll see when we cut into it. Could just be the kind of flour I used. I am pretty surprised how much they did raise to begin with though, so let's see what the outcome is. Okay, I'm gonna let these sit for a little bit, let them cool off, and then we'll cut into one. Okay, let's cut into a piece of this. I want to see how dense it is. I let it cool for about half an hour. Actually, it's not as dense as I thought it was going to be. It is still a little dense though, in my opinion. It could be fluffier. Smells really good. Let me cut a little piece off here. We'll taste it. Texture's nice. It's not bad. It could be a bit fluffier though. I don't taste the molasses at all. Not even a little bit. It's not bad. It's got a good flavor. I can taste the salt that's in it. It's not overly sweet like I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be sweet because of the molasses and the honey, but it's not. It's not too bad. So I have a thought on how I could improve this. So in the recipe, it says to use up to 7.5 cups of flour. I think if I was to make this again, I would probably stop at 4 cups rather than 5. And I think I might use a little bit finer milled flour next time. I do think I'm going to make this again. It's got good flavor. I got like the perfect amount of seeds in here too. So I think I'm going to stop at 4 cups rather than 5. So it has a little bit stickier texture. In the recipe it says to stop when it's a little bit more sticky so that it rises more. I think if it rises just a bit more, it'll be the perfect texture. It is, if you look, it's got a little bit of density to it. I do think part of that was maybe I should have used maybe 4 cups instead of 5, and maybe the kind of flour I used. But overall, for a first attempt, I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah, the recipe's a keeper. I'll put the recipe in the description box for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this recipe I think is worth trying. I would tweak a couple things in it, but yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.